Hey everybody. Make yourselves comfortable and here we go. The wind whispered through the gnarled trees, carrying with it a sense of foreboding as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, eerie shadows across the small town of Hollow Hill. Halloween had arrived, and with it, the promise of a night filled with chilling thrills and otherworldly encounters. In the heart of the town stood an ancient mansion, known as Hollow House, which had stood for centuries, its dark history steeped in mystery and terror. The mansion had long been abandoned, rumored to be cursed, and it was said that on Halloween night, the veil between the living and the dead grew thin, allowing the spirits trapped within to roam freely. A group of friends, eager to test their courage, decided to spend Halloween night inside Hollow House. Their names were Sarah, a fearless thrill-seeker, Mark, a skeptic who believed in logic above all else, Lisa, the sensitive and intuitive one, and Tom, the daredevil who never turned down a challenge. As the clock struck midnight, they gathered at the imposing gates of Hollow House, clutching flashlights and trembling with a mixture of fear and excitement. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie pallor over the mansion. With a creak, the gates swung open on their own, as if inviting the group inside. They exchanged uneasy glances but continued up the overgrown path to the mansion's entrance. The front door, ancient and weathered, groaned open as they pushed it gently, revealing a grand foyer filled with dust and cobwebs. "Okay, this is creepy," Mark muttered, scanning the room with his flashlight. "Relax, Mark," Sarah said with a grin. "It's just an old house. Let's explore." They ventured deeper into the mansion, their footsteps echoing through the empty halls. It wasn't long before they began to experience strange occurrences. Whispers seemed to fill the air, disembodied voices murmuring unintelligible words. Shadows danced in the corners of their vision, and the temperature dropped significantly. Lisa, the most sensitive among them, felt a presence, a dark energy that seemed to surround them. She shivered and clutched her chest. "Guys, something's not right. I can feel it." Tom, always eager for a thrill, scoffed. "Come on, Lisa. It's just your imagination playing tricks on you." But before anyone could respond, the group heard a mournful wail that sent chills down their spines. It was a woman's voice, filled with sorrow and anguish, echoing from somewhere deep within the mansion. "I think it's time we leave," Mark suggested, his skepticism rapidly diminishing. But the door they had entered through slammed shut, and they were plunged into darkness. Panic set in as they fumbled for their flashlights, the oppressive silence broken only by their heavy breathing. As the flashlights flickered to life, they saw that the walls were now covered in old, tattered portraits of people who seemed to be watching them with malevolent intent. The paintings depicted scenes of death and suffering, and the eyes of the subjects followed the group's every move. Suddenly, Lisa let out a blood-curdling scream as she pointed her flashlight at a figure in the hallway. It was a woman in a tattered, blood-soaked gown, her long, dark hair hanging in front of her face. Her eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and she seemed to float towards them, her feet not touching the ground. Terror seized the group as they turned and ran in the opposite direction, their heartbeats pounding in their ears. But the mansion seemed to twist and turn, the hallways shifting and changing, trapping them in an ever-shifting labyrinth of horror. They encountered more ghostly apparitions, screaming children, weeping men, and tormented souls, all trapped within the mansion's walls. Each encounter left them more shaken than the last. Finally, they found themselves in a grand ballroom, where a ghostly masquerade was in full swing. Dancers in elaborate costumes waltzed to a haunting melody played by an invisible orchestra. The guests' faces were masks of decay and anguish, frozen in an eternal dance of despair. In the center of the ballroom stood the woman in the blood-soaked gown, her ghostly form illuminated by a spectral chandelier. She beckoned to them, her voice now gentle and sorrowful. "You must help me." Trembling, they approached her, unable to resist her pull. She revealed her tragic story. The mansion was cursed, and her spirit, along with countless others, was trapped within its walls by an ancient malevolent force. The group agreed to help her break the curse, their initial fear replaced by a sense of duty. The woman explained that they needed to find a hidden chamber deep within the mansion and retrieve a cursed amulet, the source of the malevolence. They journeyed through the ever-changing mansion, encountering more horrors along the way, but they pressed on. As they reached the hidden chamber, they found the amulet, a sinister, pulsating jewel of pure darkness. Lisa, with her intuitive abilities, reached out and grabbed it. As soon as she touched the amulet, a deafening roar echoed through the mansion, and the walls themselves seemed to come alive, closing in on them. The malevolent force that had trapped the spirits fought back with all its might. With sheer determination, they managed to break the amulet, shattering the curse that had bound the mansion for centuries. The spirits of the trapped souls were released, vanishing into the night, their anguished cries replaced by a sense of peace. As the curse lifted, the mansion began to crumble around them. The group rushed to escape, narrowly avoiding falling debris. They burst through the front door just as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon. Hollow House collapsed behind them, reduced to a pile of rubble and dust. The curse was broken, but the memory of that terrifying Halloween night would haunt them forever. As they stood outside, catching their breath, they looked at each other, their faces pale but filled with a newfound respect for the supernatural. They had ventured into the heart of darkness and emerged victorious, forever bound by the chilling tale of the haunting of Hollow Hill, a story that would be whispered around campfires for generations to come. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and write your opinion about this story in the comments. And be sure to subscribe. It will be even more interesting.